Welcome back to the Mighty Decibels Discography series. Today we're going astray, way north to the land of ice to honor what I consider to be the greatest folk metal band of all time, Falkenbach. So while given the pagan metal or Viking metal label, given the lyrical vision throughout their recordings, I've always considered them under the broader folk metal banner, but have no problem placing them under the pagan and or Viking metal subgenres as well. So Falkenbach was born in 1989 by sole member and leader Markus Toomers, stage name being Vratyas Vakyas, translation being the Searching Wanderer. First recordings being solo ventures before adding session members on later efforts. So Vakyas has stated that his writing is underpinned by pagan religiosity, his approach being animistic. That is, objects, places, and creatures possess spiritual essence, rejecting the existence of a barrier between a person and the outer world. So most of the lyrics are in English, but also bounce around between Old Norse, Latin, and Old German. Starting out in Iceland, Vakyas now resides in Germany. So enough of the background, let's get into the discography, shall we? So as usual, we'll attack this chronologically, and we'll be covering full-length releases only, with song clips interspersed to assist in understanding the changes in sound over their 6 full-lengths. And oh yeah, I apologize in advance for my putrid song and album title pronunciations. So sit back, grab a cask of mead, and settle in for a tale of Viking victory. With the sound of horses' hooves, we appropriately open the Falkenbach recorded legacy with 1996's Ender med Ricky Farah, finding our man Vakyas on his own for this opening salvo. So musically, this is very much in the vein of Twilight of the Gods era Bathory, mixing harsh black metal with epic folk metal and commanding vocal melodies, sometimes separated and often mixed within the tracks themselves. So the best 3 tracks offered here are a good representation of the platter as a whole. The title track is an epic 8-minute piece that moves between atmospheric black sections and beautiful acoustic guitar and sing-along interludes. The shortest track, Ultima Thule, on the other hand, is a mid-tempo folk metal ditty with a memorable vocal melody, while Winter Night finds the band in mid-tempo headbang with harsh vocal. So as I said, a good overview of the different sounds that you will encounter when listening to this. So overall, I'd say this is a good opening gambit, but clearly is not the band's best, as Vakyas is still trying to find and refine the sound and his songwriting skills. I give this a 7 out of 10. Two years hence, in 1998, comes Magni Blandin Oke Megentiri. The lazy way to approach this would be to say that this is more of the same, but that wouldn't be entirely accurate. Yeah, there's a mixture of epic folk and atmospheric black metal as per the last record, but this one is decidedly heavier on the folk side compared to the debut, which is good in theory, but there are too many similar sounding mid-pace plodding tracks and sections that make this one drag in parts. Highlights would be the 2 shortest tracks that conclude the disc, Walhall with its catchy atmospheric keys and refrain, and Balder's Todd, a sweeping orchestral instrumental that evokes images of one going on a journey. The best track in the discography to this point. Another 7 out of 10 in my opinion. It's 5 long years later in 2003 when Vakyas returns full bore with Oke Nefna Tisvarti, this time with guest musicians in the studio to help him along, including an additional vocalist, an approach that he would continue throughout the rest of the band's recording sessions from here on out. And here we have it, not only the masterpiece of the Falkenbach discography, but a record I consider to be one of the greatest folk metal records of all time, along with Tuonela by Amorphis. The blowing of horns and soothing keys introduce themselves to initiate activities on Vratyas before the journey begins in earnest, as we weave our way through 7 windswept tracks that transport you to the time of the Vikings. Again, not a huge change in song textures here compared to the previous records. However, the songwriting has moved forward by leaps and bounds. The riffs and tempos arranged to perfection to stave off the sameness that was found on the last release. The riffs instantly memorable and the vocal melodies rich and emotional. Tracks for the most part kept compact under 5 minutes, leaving the album length at a perfect 40 minutes. Gotta point out tracks 3 through 5, which to me evokes visions of battle on horseback, then to the subsequent celebration of a well-earned victory, sharing ale and tales of valor. The 3-track segment then closed by a solemn song remembering the fallen, an amazing midsection 3-track triumph. And what can I say about As Long as the Winds Blow, perhaps the greatest folk metal track ever birthed? The keyboard and acoustic guitar refrain is utterly sublime, while the vocal melody is simply pure joy. This is the track I want played at my funeral as they set me adrift on a burning wooden raft with a picture of my family, a lacrosse stick, and Sabbath's Volume 4 laying across my chest, utterly glorious. Nothing more to say other than, hey, folk metal perfection, buy or die. 2 years later, in 2005, Vakyas goes back to the well, as it were, by revisiting an unfinished demo from 1995 called Fireblade. So re-recorded with additional tracks and issued under the name Heralding the Fireblade. This finds the band embracing an overall heavier sound than the previous record. There's the return of harsh vocals that were mainly absent on the last record, and the overall tempos are higher, bringing forth a more aggressive sound reminiscent of their earlier material. So eminently enjoyable from beginning to end, the band deserves praise for presenting the listener with yet another folk metal classic. That said, from a songwriting perspective, it's not as earth-shatteringly strong as the previous release to these ears. There are 4 standout tracks that are amongst the band's best, though. Epic 9-minute opener Heathen Foray, the heaven-sent Hamavel with its exquisite vocal melody, the kick-ass Roman Land, and the equally aggressive Heralder. So once again, this 4-pack represents some of the best folk metal ever produced on this heathen land. Another glorious outing for the band. I give this a 9 out of 10. Fans had to wait 6 long years before another studio album was released by the secretive Vakyas with 2011's Tiarida. So here we find the band referring back in style more towards the OK Nefna Tisvarti record, albeit with a few harsh vocal tracks included within the 7-tracker. Additionally, there are less vocals on this one, leaving more room for rhythmic movements to stretch out. And as per the last record, all songs are worthy entries into the epic folk metal genre, but there are 3 standout tracks. Where Ravens Fly starts with a slow folk dance feel before transitioning into a mid-pace epic metal stunner. Rune Shall You Know is initiated by a catchy circular acoustic guitar refrain before electric guitars join the march, and then topped off by an exquisite vocal melody. And Sunavend structurally is similar to Rune's but contains minimal vocals, bringing an almost hypnotic feel to the track. So yeah, 3 records in a row finds Vakyas and his supporting musicians in top-tier form, providing us with yet another Viking metal triumph. Another 9 out of 10. A short 2 years later, in 2013, we're blessed with another full-length in the form of Asa. This time we find the one-man band with guest musicians oscillating between epic clean-sung folk metal and blackened folk metal tracks, an equal split between clean and harsh. Further, there's a return to shorter song lengths, the majority being under 5 minutes as per the OK Nefta Tisvarti opus. And speaking of the latter, Asa proves to be Falkenbach's second best album, losing out by a nose at the finish to the former. So 9 tracks, and all deserve to be placed on your Falkenbach and folk metal best of playlist, in my opinion, especially given the mix between harsh and light on offer here. Hard to pick out highlights, but given the magnificence of every track, but I have to mention Uarun, which is initiated by a haunting vocal over top of acoustic guitar before electric guitar joins in, taking us on yet another contemplative journey. And the repeating acoustic guitar phrase that it's blessed with is the very definition of epic metal to these ears, just haunting stuff. Of the more aggressive tracks, I'd point to Stick Wound, an attacking atmospheric black metal track with a melodic guitar refrain that satisfies. So yeah, another perfect outing for Vratyas, and truly a triumph of folk metal magic. Buy or die again here, folks. Another perfect 10 out of 10. So here we are, more than 10 years on, still waiting for Falkenbach to surprise us with another Viking metal triumph. Not sure that we'll ever be so lucky, but if that is indeed the end of the line for the band, it's way cool that the discography ends on such a high note. So there you have it, a discography review for the greatest folk metal band of all time, in my opinion. Hail to the mighty Falkenbach, and a hearty thank you to Vakyas for blessing us with so much amazing music that I'll certainly be listening to until my time on this earthly plane has been extinguished. So thanks for listening, watching, and remember to check in every Monday for our new release Mondays. Tuesdays, we have our curated playlists in 40 minutes. And Wednesdays and Thursdays, we have written articles, also some best of, top 10s, that sort of thing. You know where to go. www.themightydecibel.com. Have a great one, eh? Bye.